I was wrong in doing what I did.
No, no! No! Are you listening?
Sean here, and I figured I'd do something I hadn't done in a while, and that's kind of like having an open discussion. It's late here, and sometimes I wonder about this man, this human being, whether or not he'll ever change. I'm tired a lot, but it's because I have kids, we have a full schedule, I go to work, I work out. That's a reason to be tired. Lorne does nothing, but yet he's exhausted all of the time. He talks about the hard work he did today. In reality, Lorne is tired. Well, first because he smokes about 80 cigarettes a day, which we still don't know where he's getting the money from. We know that his channel is not worth -5 cents. He's not getting any money from that. He's taking it from his mom. You know that. I know that. Or borrowing it from his brother Roy. Roy must be going through hell. But Lorne, he probably does what a lot of manipulators do. Borrows money, then waits just long enough to ask him again. It's usually small sums. He knows his limits. Because if you ask too much of somebody one time, they'll stop lending you money. But Lorne has figured out to ask a little bit here, a little bit over here, a little bit over there. He's figured out how to ask for a little bit here and a little bit there. And there's always a sob story or a change is just around the corner. Because you know he does that with the women. He spends his entire life grifting, not just other people but himself, fooling himself, deluding himself, staying angry all the time, sad, because I know he's sad, and he's only sad because he's angry all the time. He doesn't want to be angry all the time, but Lorne's not smart enough to put that together. I don't know why I'm sad. I don't know why I'm angry. Well, Lorne, here's your cycle. You don't like to feel sad, so you replace that sadness with anger, and you're angry all the time. You can't keep that up forever. You crash, and you're sad because your body is telling you, dude, we can't keep this level anymore. We can't keep this anger going. And you're not going to be happy where all of a sudden your anger's going to stop and you're going to be like, oh, yay, Yellow Brick Road, let's skip on down. We're good. We're going to see the wizard. Lorne could probably use to see the wizard, but staying angry all the time, it's exhausting. It really is. If you've ever been angry for more than a day, your muscles are tight, you don't breathe, the next time you're angry, well, you probably won't remember because you're angry, but remind yourself to check your breathing. You'll find out that you'll be holding your breath, like when you're stressed. You're angry when you're normal, when you're happy, you breathe. You literally breathe life in. But when you're angry, you don't. And it's exhausting, and Lorne has to be exhausted all of the time. This is a man who, he can't change. To hear him still talking about being in class in 2022, to hear him still talk about people telling him to shut up in class, arguing with the instructor, still falling for catfish women, still thinking that well, I told them about you in sex offender class. I stuck up for you. I took up for you. He still thinks that's supposed to make a woman feel great. I wish Lorne at one point would realize, okay, I have an opportunity here. I can stay in this class, hate myself. Well, you know what? He probably doesn't even hate himself. But I think he's like Gollum. He both loves and hates himself. He loves that class. When he talks about that class, think about this. The people that go to that class, when they're talking about their problems. And I think a lot of them, whether or not they want to admit it, they really do understand that they need help. Lorne sees it as a social outing. He's the kid that gets in detention, and it's the same thing as being in normal class. He just wants to goof off and talk. He doesn't want to do what he's supposed to. He wants to bother the girls. There are no girls in that class. So Lorne's an asshat. The sad part is if you put a woman in that class, Lorne would probably graduate faster because he'd be paying attention. Then again, he's had female therapists and psychs and guidance counselors and whatever, and he hasn't gotten anywhere. So maybe that's wrong. But he's still in class, and to hear him say the words that the instructor didn't want to hear his mouth anymore, and Lorne thought that was something to be proud of, there's a real disconnect there. There's a real problem. It hasn't been made real to him. A guy who is exhausted, a guy who keeps himself angry and tired is always going to reach for the low-hanging fruit. He's going to do the minimum. I was doing a workout tonight, and I got towards the end, and I just wanted to quit. And I found myself on some of the combos slacking off, doing I still had to get through it, but I was doing the minimum, and I had to kick myself in the pants. We've all been there, and you're like, look, dude, you're going to finish, and you're going to finish strong because you want to quit. Lorne quits everything except drinking, smoking, treating. Do you see what I'm getting at? Lorne quits everything that he should be doing and keeps doing the habits that we wish he would get out of. His relationships are so strained. When you can't have communication, effective communication with people you want in your life, and you're always having to think of the angle or having to think about what you say, Lorne has never been himself in his entire life. He's put up whatever he thinks is this persona that's going to help him get from A to B, this tough guy persona, this bad boy. Listening to him speak, Lorne sounds like the absolute biggest geek in the whole world. When he's being insulted, I know it. Oh, it just drives me crazy. Like he's talking to a dog. But listening to him talk the amazing and very special, like he has no concept of cool. None. He's never been cool in his entire life. I don't know what it is about him. I don't know why he thinks he's cool, why he thinks he's some kind of legend. But I know it's not serving him very well. It's difficult for a nerd, because I was a nerd in middle school, well, junior high back then. I was a nerd. It's difficult to accept that you are, because you always want to be something else. Looking back, there was a time when I was beating up the bullies that had beaten me up in the past, that I realized I thought I wanted to be a bad boy. I thought I wanted to be known for this, but I wasn't me. I didn't accomplish anything. I didn't feel like I accomplished anything, and I decided I wanted to be me. I didn't want to be that guy anymore. I don't want to be embarrassed because I'm into Dungeons and Dragons or something, or I like to play video games. Back then, gamers were nerds. Now, gamers are the cool kids, you know? But Lorne, he didn't even pick a persona. He didn't even pick this cool, suave guy where he's pretending to be awesome. He's this awkward, angry nerd, not the angry video game nerd, but this awkward, angry, nerdy geek who has no idea how to speak to women. He's not even charming when he can't speak to women. He doesn't stammer or stutter over his words like Steve Rogers in Captain America. I mean, you are beautiful. I mean, you're a dame, but you know what I'm saying. And she looks at him with a little smirk and says, you don't have much experience talking to women, do you? There was a little bit of charm there. You could see he was awkward, but he was really trying. Lorne doesn't really try. Every one of these calls where he's giddy, hi, and he starts off thinking it's going to be a great call, and as we've all pointed out, it's so wonderful that Blue Boy just shuts him down. But Lorne, he's not charming. When he's cute, he shouldn't be cute. He should be serious. And when he should be, it's reverse. He's trying to be cute in a situation where he's being a complete ass. It's like he's got a turd and he's trying to drizzle chocolate over it and serve it up. He uses charm at the wrong times, all the time. And if you do that, when you genuinely try to turn on the charm, the person you've been using charm in the wrong places with is going to assume, uh-oh, here comes the chocolate-covered turd again. Here comes another line of questioning from him. Here comes an unpleasant situation because he's trying to butter me up. And when you can't even schmooze right, when you can't figure out when to turn it on and turn it off, there's a problem. So the real Lorne, the psychotic Lorne, the obsessive Lorne, no matter what he does, it always comes through. He's not even an effective manipulator. He doesn't even know how to use what little charm he has to get the information he wants. That would be the way that Lorne talks to women. If I'm a cop and you're sitting in the interrogation room and I walk in and I've got brass knuckles in my hand and I'm looking at you with this mean look on my face and I say, I'm gonna get some answers. To Lorne, he thinks that's being charming, but to the person he's talking to, they know there's an ulterior motive or that this charm is out of place. This guy should not be grilling me with questions, giddy like a little schoolgirl. I still think Lorne is drinking. I think if probation was smart, they would do Dutch Mantel, professional wrestler turned booker, turned manager, Zeb Coulter in WWE and then TNA, whatever. He had a granddaughter, I think it was, that died. A guy was on parole, and he was on parole for drinking and driving, getting in an accident or something like that. Now, what they do is they take these people who have a history and they put an active monitoring device which monitors their blood content for chemicals and alcohol. It's real time, kind of like the diabetes thing that transmits to your phone. There's a guy in the office, his phone goes crazy if he steps out of range. But you put this on Lorne, and we see if this man is still drinking. When Lorne talks about other people, it's to take the focus off of him. When people bring up that he's a pedo, he brings up how the other pedo is pedo harder than he does. You bring up smoking. Roy smokes more than I do, smokes like a chimney. You bring up drinking. Roy's an alcoholic. Roy drinks too much. Now, Lorne doesn't talk about other people unless it serves him. We've mentioned that. So the fact that he brings up Roy's drinking all the time, it makes me wonder if he's not drinking himself. And I mentioned it in a comment, his manic mood, just the way he's speaking. And I think I mentioned it earlier in this video, but the way he's speaking, it just reminds me of drinking Lorne. He has nothing going on in his life. And what do people do when their life is shit? They turn to substance. Narcotics, alcohol. Some people can just deal with coffee and smoking. Stimulants. They can get by with that. Some people with a glass of wine here and there. But Lorne can't. Everything is full force with him. And what's sad is he can't apply that to, I'm going to have a hobby and I'm going to dedicate all of my time to it. Lorne's idea of singing, he probably thought he practiced while he was singing. I don't know, there was an ad for a knife one time that sharpens itself while you use it. I think Lorne thinks when he does stuff, that's practice. When he's actually performing, that's practice. Because there'll always be a bigger performance around the corner. Lorne's whole life is a performance. But back to what I was saying about him drinking and how he's always pointing out what Roy's doing and about how bad off Roy is. I'm fairly certain, because of how many times he lectures Casey on how much time it is between drinks and blood alcohol content, that he doesn't have it worked out where, okay, probation and parole opens at this. Now, usually if they're going to check me, they're going to come at this time. And he doesn't work it out, so he can't have a couple drinks. Well, it wouldn't be a couple for Lorne, but you know what I mean. He can't get his life back on track for a multitude of reasons. He doesn't want to admit what he did was wrong. He can't ever look in the mirror and face who he is, how he looks. He doesn't take pride in his appearance. He doesn't take pride in his reputation or his financial situation. He takes pride in nothing. He takes pride in things that he doesn't do. Well, at least I didn't drink and drive last night. At least I didn't kill anybody. Well, at least I'm not Roy. At least I'm not. That would be like saying, well, I do coke. At least I don't do crack. That's what Lorne takes pride in. There's no pride in anything. He didn't even take pride in his singing. I think he just assumed that people liked singing. He liked how he sounded. Thus, other people would like how he sounded. Lorne logic, Lorne math. Lorne logic is a real thing. You don't look like he does without having done extensive damage to your body. Even in the case he calls, he's still he's doing those weird mini syllables. Still, he probably had some mini strokes. I think he might have. The way he talks, his thought process, he can't remember anything. As we said before, the only things he can remember are things that are brought up via emotions about how it made him feel. And, well, I'm feeling this way now. I remember that time when that made me feel this way. But I think he's had some mini strokes. We have mentioned that before. Alcohol, cocaine's a hell of a drug. Alcohol has done a number on him. And we can all see what happens now to a guy who destroys his liver, kills his brain cells. When you have somebody like Lorne, who's dumb, I can't put it any other way, who's dumb to begin with, and he spends his life smoking cigarettes, drinking, blackout drunk, we're talking blackout drunk, passing out. He doesn't eat well, he's never eaten well, he doesn't actually work out. The dude thinks he's a stud. He thinks because he had big arms at one point, that's all that matters. He's the guy who skips leg day. I don't know those of you who go to the gym. I did a while ago, but I just got tired of driving and I just got stuff in my house to work out with. But those of you who go to the gym, you see those guys. They're going to work out what's already strong anyway, what people comment on. And I think, again, with Lawrence singing, the only thing anything he did was ever commented on might have been his singing, because he talks about when I was younger, they asked me to sing. So rather than work on anything else, Lorne focused on the fact that someone liked his singing. Someone may have called, oh, Lorne, you got nice arms. Dear God, help them if they were a woman. But I can hear like Roy or somebody, whoa, your arms got big, or Tony, your arms got big. That's all Lorne needed. Now he's completely focused on his arms. He probably only worked out his arms. If you looked at his idiotic workout he did on that little baby blanket, which is ironic as hell. If you look at that workout video, it's pretty much all arms. And, he tried to say there was a little bit of chest, but the dude was winded after like 10 push-ups, man. I mean, his lack of self-awareness is legendary. He spent his entire life not focused on what he could improve, but focused on things he'd received praise for, which is why his pegs are still back at square one. He's a level 1 gamer. He never made it past the first level of Mario Brothers. He didn't even make it past the first jump. It was good enough that he turned the game on, in that metaphor. Well, turned it on. I was able to move the character. I'm a gamer. He probably does believe that. And sometimes I am really, I guess vitriolic would be the word when I talk about this human being. And I think it's deservedly, I think it's rightfully so. I can't understand how someone can be like he is. Think that the way he is okay. Expect other people to accept him exactly as he is. To take his abuse, to take his shit, to have to deal with his questions and his constant interrogations and his insecurity and his obsession. He's a scary individual that we all make fun of from the safety of our own home. One-on-one, if you're, I don't know, if you can defend yourself, or if you just, violence makes you physically ill. But if you were one-on-one with this guy and you were telling him everything that he needed to change and you kept going and going, Lorne's initial happiness that somebody was speaking to him, it would eventually turn to anger and then rage. And if you didn't stop, he would threaten to beat you up. See, I thought Lorne would keep up the charade for a couple days. Let's change the subject now. You told me. But I think he would get violent. And if you were a female, you being there, he would assume ownership of you. He would become aggressive. Now, I love it when Lorne denies that he's abusive and that he's angry and that he's obsessive and insecure. I love it. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You just. So I think if you were there in person with him, trying to get through, I think he would turn violent. Lorne's the kind of guy that if you don't believe him, no matter what he says, he's going to keep going. And when he realizes, I can't snowball you, or, oh my God, you may be right, he's going to threaten violence. Because if I can't get you to accept it verbally, I'm going to beat it into you. I'm going to teach you a lesson. I think if Roy was there or somebody else, maybe he would be nice. Maybe. Because he's got an audience. He wants to show Roy, oh, Roy, you sit over there. Oh, you have to forgive my brother, Roy. He's out of control sometimes. He just doesn't act right. But eventually he'd become familiar, and he would become violent. And these people that go visit him, if they go visit him one-on-one like Socks or whoever the hell these people are, I don't know who they are, I would never do it. Because I know me. I think I would push his button, he would mouth off, and I would flatline him. I'm not bragging, I'm telling you, I would flatline him because of all the years of abuse to women and the way he treats them and the fact that he has no value whatsoever to anyone on this earth. To hear him say he thinks he has a lot to lose, I just don't understand how he can believe that, how he can say it and believe it. Maybe I can. Because these people that go and see him, maybe they'll tell him what he wants to hear. Like his aunt or his mom. Well, Lorne, Lorne probably heard from his mom, Lorne, if you go to jail, I'm going to have to do this and that and this and that. What Lorne probably heard was, oh, well, I got a lot to lose. Mom does a lot of stuff for me. And, I go over and I take the trash out. And I don't understand his thought process. But I do understand that anyone who tells him he's a good person or tells him we should be appreciative of what you have, be happy with what you have, they need to be smacked. Because of them, he comes up with this crap like, I got a lot to lose. At his core, one of his biggest problems is concepts. I like dogs, but you have to walk them, you have to feed them, you got to do this, you got to do that. I like women, but I got to worry about whether they're cheating on me. I can't talk to them this way. They get all mad when I try to do this. They just don't understand me. Everything in his life is, I like money, but you got to work for it. You got to do this and you got to do that. True story. Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus. This was during The Walking Dead. As a matter of fact, the zombie who killed the actor who played Dale was there, and so was Dale. And they signed the hat, Dale's hat, and they auctioned it off. It brought in like $2,500, man. And when that show was at its peak, people who played zombies were appearing at Comic-Cons. I was with my friend Dale. He was in a movie with Christian Slater, low budget movie. Don't think it was a big deal. But I was there to support him. We had been talking to a couple of the other guys there, and there was a special effects makeup show. I think I still have the picture of me and the guys. I can't remember what it's called. It was on Sci-Fi. But the long and short of it was, I was having a great time. So I got an opportunity to go outside and hang out with Norman Reedus and Sean Patrick Flannery and Dale. And I took it. Dale goes back inside, tells this guy Chris, hey man, shut your booth down real quick. You can come out here and hang out with, the Boondock Saints, because it was a Boondock Saints quote-unquote reunion. You can't see me doing the air quotes, but I am. I'm out there having the time of my life, laughing my ass off, getting to call him Norman. He's calling me Sean. It was a dream scenario for me. I love that movie. And of course, Walking Dead was hot as can be. So anyway, the long and short of it was this guy, Chris, he didn't want to shut down his booth long enough because he was afraid he'd lose $5 to $10 and he didn't want to get up and make the walk all the way down there. He gave up an opportunity like that because it would require some effort. I think that scenario sums up Lorne's life. Lorne wants to do what Lorne wants to do. If somebody showed him the right path and said, look, I guarantee you at the end of this, you're going to talk to Norman Reedus. You're going to be a famous music star. You just have to follow these steps. I don't think Lorne would do it. Lorne thinks the road less traveled is wandering off into the wilderness and hoping, well, I'm walking, you know, that's good enough for me, and hoping you find the light at the end of the tunnel, man. People can show him the path to walk on, but he won't do it. It requires too much effort. It requires too much effort to own up. At this point, and I think this is true, the reason Lorne, he's just not going to admit it is because he's been denying it for so long that when he finally admits it, that starts a new treatment process. He expects them, you should just cut it off. You should just admit I'm not a danger to society. Because he knows if he admits it, he's got a new path he's got to walk. There's new programs and new classes, and they're going to push him to get a job harder than they are now. Because they're actually going to care about him. They don't give a shit about Lorne right now. They just want him fixed, or I hate to say it, transferred to another state, gone. When you wait this long to change, I'm moving my hand like you can see it. When you wait this long to change, when you've amassed this much shit in your life, and you have a mountain of shit that you now have to climb over, with Lorne being as exhausted as he is, from working so hard not to do anything, I don't think he just expects everything to fix itself. He's so far in debt, he can't climb out of it. He won't admit that he's an unrepentant drunken pedophile. He won't admit it. He won't admit that he's treated his family like shit. He treats his brother like shit. Treats his mom like shit. He won't admit any of that because for him right now to change would take from now until however long he's got. And Lorne just wants to do whatever Lorne wants to do. The problem is it's all catching up to him. He realizes he's alone. He has no money. And as I love to say, no job, no prospects, no future. But he can't change. Because that would mean that everything he's done up to that point has been wrong. And Lorne won't admit he's wrong. And as I said, it means that he would have to start fresh. Rather than seeing it as a rebirth, the reinvention of Lorne Armstrong, the actual true redemption of Lorne Armstrong. Not getting on a channel and telling everybody you're innocent, and telling everybody you're a good person, but actually becoming a good person. That requires effort. I think we all know that's why he's not going to change. It's just a sad situation. He's a tired, miserable, angry piece of human garbage that is going to be who he is for the rest of his life. And if the trailer collapses around him, he will live in whatever space is available in that what used to be a trailer, a trash heap, and they will have to drag him out of it. I think Lorne, he's going to live longer than me, and it's going to piss me off because he's a cockroach. There are so many good people gone, as we've all talked about, and yet he's still here. I just wanted to have a discussion. I know it was long, a little bit long-winded and rambly, but I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.
Hang on, I can't even catch my breath. Hang on.
Yeah, this